Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Heart of the Matter podcast. Okay, I'm excited to be here. I am your host, Sherry J. And as always, again, this is Heart of the Matter podcast where we discuss issues that matter the most to your heart. And those issues, most of the time, are going to be social epidemics like fatherlessness. We also talk about blended families. And lately, we've been talking about a lot of morality issues or the decline of morality. So, we discuss all of those issues and topics on this show to actually help develop and cultivate our community, to make a better community, to make a better society, a better world. So that way, we can just be better people. And that's what this podcast is set up for. And that's the mission and goal that we strive to achieve. So on tonight, we have a very good topic. I don't know how popular it's going to be. Of course, it's kind of controversial, but it's a really good topic that we're going to be discussing today. And it was actually given to me like quite some time by my good brother friend. His name is Tone, and he had been saying like I should discuss this topic for a while, and I hadn't done it because I guess I had so many other topics coming through and just hadn't gotten to it. So I'm just giving y'all some background on how the topic of son husbands came about. So if you haven't seen all of my sharing and things I've done, that's what the topic is. The topic is on son husbands. And so how we got on this topic is that my bro, he wanted to discuss this because he said, hey, he says, we got to discuss it. It's a lot of women that pretty much, they treat their sons like they're kings or like, like their man. And I was like, really? I didn't even think of it that way, had no idea, but he brought it to my attention. And I'm like, okay, that's something we can definitely discuss, and then the other day I was not watching, I was just on my Facebook scrolling, and I looked at like my timeline, or I don't know how I seen it, but I seen a clip of a lady, and the lady was like, she took a picture with her son, and I'm going to show it in a second, and she was kind of like just standing to the side, and I shared it to my timeline. I was like, bro, we got to talk about this. Here it go right here. And it just kind of blew up. Like a lot of people was like either against it, more was against it than for it. So on the actual image, she just said sons, mother and sons need dates too, or so. So a lot of people kind of got, taken back from that because it was controversial. And that's how we got here to this topic today. So this is what we're going to be discussing: son husbands. I know it's kind of tongue twister. So I do want to show you guys the actual post that was made that actually sparked this conversation. And then I'm going to be bringing on my bro in just a moment. He's going to talk about this conversation with us and why he wanted to, or why he was interested in talking about it. And before I do that, I want you guys, if you're on, I want you to say hello to me. So I see a few people. Hey, Ash, you said you're here. Hey, Merely, you're here. And I don't see, and nobody else's name is down here. So just drop your name and say hello. So I want to say hi back to you if you're on. But we're going to go to, I'm going to show you the actual image. Okay. All right. So hoping you guys can see this. All right. So if you see this, this was the post that I saw. And I was hoping to have this guy, Alan. I was hoping to have him on. He was going to be on, but I don't know. Maybe he's running late from work or something. I don't know. He may still come on. So this is the topic he posted, right? He posted this picture. And if you see, it says mother and son dates are important too. And so I shared this on my page. And a lot of what you see here, what's wrong with mother and son dates, she's just saying it's very important to spend quality time. A lot of these reactions were the same reactions that I got when I shared it on my page. And so if you see this, and just looking at this, I mean, how many of you think that this is like inappropriate, or like how many of you would you, if you looked at this picture, would you say this was a son and a mother, or would you say this is more like a mom and her man or so? Because me looking at it, if I didn't see this part, I would probably definitely think it was something more, not a son. It looks like he looks young enough to be her son, but I guess it's the whole point is that it's really inappropriate, I guess, because the way she's dressed. And I know she only has a t-shirt on, she only has some jeans on. However, she has heels on. She looks very sexy. And I think that was the matter with a lot of people is that, well, a lot of pretty much men, is that she looked sexy. And when you go out with your son, you don't want to look sexy, right? You want to look like a mom going out with her son. You want to look like a mom who cares for her son, who's just, we're going out to hang out and you don't want to go out on a date, right? So this is where this conversation sparked from. It was from that image that we got, and I shared it. And a lot of people were in disagreement. Like, why can't she go on a date? Like, it's her son. And a lot of people were like, well, there's daddy daughter dates. What about that? It was just so much back and forth, which I took time to look up some of these words as far as dates. And when I looked the dictionary version of date up, this is what it says. Um, this was the Cambridge definition. It says it's a social meeting planned before it happens, especially one between two people who have or might have a romantic relationship. So I think what happened is when you put a picture out and say sons and mothers need dates as well, or they need dates too, you kind of make it seem romantic, which it is because anytime you put a date on something, it's a romantic type of setting. And so this is what sparked this conversation because I think a lot of men are dealing with this when they're talking to a lot of single moms. They're dealing with single moms who are actually they feel like the moms or their women are actually dating their sons. And so I think this is the issue. But I'm gonna bring Tone on, so hopefully you guys understand what we're where we're going with this topic. Hey Penelope, hey Michelle, hey Tiffany. Oh, you driving? Okay. Merely you said, okay, she looks like she's trying to be sexy for the guy she's dating. Yes, exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people a lot of men or, most women, level headed women were upset because it's like, you don't dress like that with your son. I have three sons. I wouldn't go out with them like that. But I'm going to bring Tony on so he can discuss this more with us and then I'll give some more insight as well. Okay. Hey, Tony, what's up?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Look, I'm glad you're here. Like you heard, I had been trying to get you on, on this topic. Remember we kept saying, "Okay, we got to do this topic." It kept coming up.
And it's my fault. I've been having some stuff out of my control going on that's
Yeah,
prolonged this.
I know. And you're healing just fine, right? You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay.
A lot going on, but I'm doing good.
Okay, great. And if and for the listeners, can you guys share this for us? This is going to be a great good topic. It's going to be informative and a lot of people need to hear this. Um and I just want it to help and reach, the world really. I know we're just growing, but I know we're able to do it, especially if you care about if you know somebody in this situation, then you understand the severity of son husbands. So Tony, I want to know what sparked your interest in actually this topic. Like, what made you feel like this is something we needed to talk about?
Well, it first started probably, I want to say about 6 years ago when I went
Oh,
to therapy. And it was something that the therapist said to open my eyes. And, especially in the black community, a lot of us grow up without fathers. So it usually be single parent households, and immediately you thinking about being the man of the household. And I know like we're in a different era. So like my mother, she's 70 years old. So the way they parent back in the day is totally different now. But then when you start dating, your friends start dating, you start seeing that things are changing. Where like when you going into a relationship or start getting involved with a woman and she
start
have a
seeing that.
son, a lot of stuff she always saying she don't need a man, but she's putting her son in that role. Now they
Right,
might not be doing nothing, sexually,
right,
but she doing everything else, making him feeling like he's the man and looking at him as the man. And
right,
that's why you're seeing a lot of situations where boys are defending their moms. We seen a situation where they took, the one situation in Chicago when he killed the guy,
yeah,
and it's just not a boy, a kid role to protect their mother. You know what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
a man job. And as you see it going on, you married, but a lot of times, a lot of women is not willing to be married, and they using the son, putting them in
To
place.
fill
Like
that
I
gap.
don't need a man. I don't need a man. And they ain't saying this because they got their son, but sometimes they use that terminology like, "Well, I'm going on a date with my son." And see, when you say that, it's like, wait a minute. That's why I'm
Right.
glad you brought out what the
Yeah.
dictionary says, because when you say that to them, they give you so much negative feedback, and you're like, wait a minute, that's what you said.
Right.
You know, I would never say I'm going on a date with my daughter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll just say we going out to dinner,
Right.
to bond or whatever like that. Because when it's a date, it's like, wait a minute, that open your eyes and that seems so weird.
Exactly. And I think what when you said that a lot of times the moms they don't understand that what they're doing to their sons because yeah they say they don't need a man because the void is filled by their son and they're not
Mm-hmm.
realizing that the void is filled because their son talks to them like about their personal issues. He goes out with her when like the date they
Mm-hmm.
said they were on. So a lot of times women are not realizing that this is actually not right, and this is the reason why you're saying you don't need a man because you have your son. I think it's
Right.
sometimes a lot of women aren't realizing this. And I want to say that this is actually, when I researched this, is actually a form of emotional incest and covert incest. So pretty much covert means something you don't even look at. You don't even notice it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's displayed in a way where you just feel like it's normal. And
Right.
this type of boundary it's really a violation. Of course, where the parents they turn to their kids for emotional support, also intimacy. It could be conversations like me talking to my son. I have a 17-year-old son. I could talk to him about like me and my husband or whatever. Like, yeah, and I don't, what you think, son? And so a lot of this comes from us not having a man, and because we think it's okay to not have a man. And I get it. Some people are called to be single, but because we have this, I don't need a man, I could do this, I'm single, I'm independent, it makes us rely on our sons without even knowing it. And I think that's just so deep to understand. When women kind of understand and look at it that way, they'll kind of get it and say, oh wow, and I'm really messing my son up, because at the end of the day it's not going to be good for your son. The outcome won't be a good outcome. Let's see.
Yeah, because if you look at the relationship now with a single mother and her son compared to somebody like yourself that's married in a relationship with her son. Not saying all single mothers
Right.
relationship like this, but
No.
they not even holding their boys accountable to certain things
Right.
because they looking at them like a significant other.
Exactly.
And then when somebody from the outside steps in, they be like automatically like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
And a lot
Yeah.
of times you try to talk to them. Like I'm dating girls, and because how their relationship was with their son, I had to step back because I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to
Wow.
go. And then when he get older, he's gonna have so many like limitations and things that he's lacking because you didn't let him grow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And figure things out on his own. Besides you just pulling him back and forth and you directing everything. That's why fathers are so important.
Right. It
You know what I'm
is.
saying? Both parents are important,
Right.
but 9 times out of 10, for the most part, the kid got some form of a mother. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a small percentage where, different circumstances happen. But the
Right.
father is so needed because it gives it that balance.
Yeah.
And also, like, we understand that y'all have a different bond with your kids because you put them in this world.
Right.
So, we understand that, we respect that, we give that to you. But sometimes a lot of women are crossing the line,
Well, you
you
know
know.
what you said about the bond, right? I'm gonna just say this. When it comes to my son, right? My sons, and I have a daughter and I have three sons. And you may know this too because you have a daughter. It's a different bond. It's not even that we just even had them. With sons, you just got that mother-son relationship. It's just a whole nother different bond. It's the same bond you have with your daughter. And sometimes I think with that type of bond, it can go overboard. And I think that's where we just have to find a balance. And that's why you need your man or your husband to keep you in that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you will ruin your son because I do the same thing. I'll ruin my boys and I'll be too soft or this, if I didn't have that male perspective to say, listen, you need to stop, don't do that. And I have to listen to it. It may hurt because, oh, they're my babies, but I have to listen to it because I don't want to ruin them. They have to grow up and be men one day. But before we get into anything else, I'm going to show a few videos. I want to show this video is funny. So, and I see I have a few comments. Let me go ahead and address them. Hey, Penelope, you said daddy daughter day, not date. Exactly. I don't know why people keep saying date. Um, Penelope said fathers are important, but some fathers aren't around because they can't be. Deaf. Yep. Example. What advice will you give? Okay. She said, what advice would you give to a mother who's trying to reach or to teach her son how to treat women without overstepping important boundaries? That's good.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah. So you're
Okay.
yeah.
So my first question is where the father at? You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? But if the father's not around,
Like deceased or something.
then yeah, so I would try to put him into some type of activity that involves men. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Also church. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to be around positive male figures to show
Right.
him that. So
Yeah.
I grew up in a single parent household, but I was luckily had a village that showed me guys like that grew up in my neighborhood that was like my uncles, like Nipsey, um, Pat, just people in my neighborhood that was involved and helped my mom show me things that she couldn't show me.
Right. Right.
So, that's what we say too. That's why we so like people just think we like sports just because, it's sports, but it gives you different values that you don't get at home.
Really. Really.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know
You
about
know what I'm saying? And that's where like I don't know if you following, but Deion Sanders.
it. Mm-hmm.
So many people talking about Deion
Yeah,
Sanders, and
I like
that's one
him.
thing when he come in and he go in there and he talks to the single mothers and he say, hey, you giving me your son as a boy, but when I return him from college, he will be a
Don't be
man.
a man. Okay, I heard that. I
You
did.
know what I'm saying? And that's somebody that's married, you know what I'm saying, God fearing, and they know they having sports, playing sports, he also showing them how to be
He's a
men
good role
and
model.
conduct themselves.
Mhm.
Even him having like some of those video vixens or Instagram models come in to talk to them on how you even watch out and protect yourself.
Right.
So that's one thing that sports does is open the doors for other people to be involved in your
Right.
kids and show them stuff.
Like a
So
brotherhood.
yeah. So like just have them involved in something. And
Okay.
also like look, do your research for a mentor, have them in church, or have them involved in something.
Got it.
And even when you catch yourself spoiling him or being kind of soft, step back because it's okay for a boy to fall down. And
Woo,
when he fall down and he look back for you to pick him up, that's when you got to step back and say, "No, son, you got to
figure
get
it
up on
out.
your own this
Figure
time.
it out.
You got to figure it out because that's how society gonna deal with you."
Okay. Thank you so much. She said thanks as well. So let me get into some of these videos. It's funny, y'all. I'm about to show this video.
All right.
It's about she kind of like talking about son husband. This is a woman saying this, so it's not a man. I know a lot of women be like, that's men saying that because they would say that, they're going, how that go like that.
Yeah.
I'm a woman, I understand it's hard sometimes to hear this because you love your son so much. So I understand, but let me share this video real quick with y'all.
You know what I think is so sad? When a woman screams she don't need a man, then she'll treat her son as if he's her husband. Nothing is normal about calling your sons up late at night crying because you need to hear their voice.
Oh, hey, son. I was sitting in the door crying. Oh, you was white. Well, I said hello. Guess I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right.
Some of these mamas buy a dress she think is sexy. She's stepping in front of her son talking about,
Wow, look. You would hold my body right. I feel ugly.
No, mom, you look good.
I do. Thank you, son.
your sons know when it's your time to hunt because you're sending them to the store to buy your pads. Why don't you get your ass up and go get your own? Valentine's come around. I must be expecting chocolates, teddy bears, balloons. Not normal falling out with every woman that your sons introduce to the family. That's your son, and you need to act accordingly.
Okay. Ooh. Y'all, what y'all think about that video? That joke was funny, wasn't it?
Well, it's so much of that going on in this world. Like, even with me having
Right.
friends
That was funny.
and just seeing it, even if it's a situation involving me or a lot of my other friends' mothers, we see they might not went to that extent where they putting on a sexy dress and
Uh,
saying we
I
taking our
don't
son
know.
out on a date, but it's other things where they controlling, and when they sons do get a woman,
Yeah,
they
that too.
stepping too far where a lot of the women and the mother is clashing. Like I remember, and I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say this person's name, but I remember one of my friends uh, got married, and he had a conversation. He told me with his mom, where it's like, "Hey, I'm married now. My wife come first." You know what I'm saying? Like past practices where you just feel like you can always regulate me and make me do things. I have to make sure my wife is happy. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And they had that conversation. They didn't have no issues, but just think as a boy or as a man, you gotta even have that conversation with your mom.
Right. Right.
And
How
I think a lot of times it's not even something they know they doing because it's
right.
hard raising a kid on your own. You know what I'm
It's
saying? So
amazing.
that kid is seeing you at your vulnerable moments, you expressing emotions you're going through because you don't have nobody else to vent. But that's why you got to always remember that's your son.
No, you got
And
girlfriends to vent to. So
yeah,
I mean, why would you? Because the thing is, we don't understand we need masculine energy. And because your son is a boy, he gives off that masculine energy, and it's not the right one that you need, but because he's giving it off, because he's a boy growing into a man. And so it's just, because you could talk to your friends about certain things. You can ask them, oh, does this, you can do that with them, but you turn into your son is because you actually crave that energy, and you say you don't need a man, but you do need a man. We all know we need each other, and because of that, you're on your son like in this inappropriate way. You don't think it's inappropriate because that's yours. That's your son, and I get it. But a lot of times the energy is what we're looking for, but we don't want to go get our own men or treat our men right and just deal with who we are with. You know what I'm saying? To create a healthy relationship with them, we go and just get our sons for that to fulfill that space that we need because we're women. We need that masculine energy. We can't say we don't. This is why, the opposite sex, if you want to be on the other team, they still get a woman that looks like a man because you need to have that. It's just how God created us, and it's no way around it. But I want to look at some comments here before we move forward. I think about the video.
and I
Penelope.
want to say something too after you read your comments while it's
Oh, okay.
on my mind.
So, okay. Penelope Love said, "Oh, ooh, let's talk about the women who walk around naked in front of their male child." Remember, you was like, "I don't think they do that." I think they do. She said that. Listen, but you know what, Melita, I don't know if she's on here. She did send me a video. I didn't get a chance to upload it, but she said that she knew of a friend who would walk around with nothing on around her baby. Like, and the baby got bigger, was over, I think, over 5 or 6, and she still was like, not even no bra, not, no, or no panties. I'm like, huh? I'm like, come on, what? Just saying, oh, it's nature. That's
I
very.
know people. I know people seriously that think that some of these mothers are sleeping with their boys.
I just had that
See,
conversation.
and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff is because how society accepts it. You would never hear a man say, "Hey, I don't need a woman," because that's not accepted. But
Right.
I think because they want us divided so much
Right.
that they let that in with women and they're encouraging, "Hey, you don't need a man, you don't need a man, but you do. We need each other." You know what I'm
Right, we
saying?
need
We
each
need
other.
each other.
It's like a puzzle. We need each other, and we're not talking about we need each other. We're just saying you don't need a man, but we're not talking about that the women are using their sons. Even some women I know are having their sons help pay bills. Remember even Tupac said he had to go pay the rent for his mom because his mom was struggling, but their dad was not in the home. So we see this goes back some years now. It's not just happening. This is something that's been going on. Penelope, you said they're in competition with each other. She talking about the woman. You talking about the woman and the mom. Yeah, we see that too often, that the mom doesn't want to let her son go because she's like, no, that's my baby. I don't have a man, so I need him to change my tires and fix my car and do everything around my house. And so the wife is like, excuse me, that's my husband now. But moms don't realize that they have to let their sons go. It's hard because I love my boys and I don't want to let them go, but merely said Tia did that with her son. How I look, son. I think I seen that. Did you see that? Where Tia, I think she was trying on an outfit and she turned around and asked her son how did she look? And I think TikTok and everybody ate her up, was like, why would you ask your son? That's not your man, because the son was looking like weird. And Tia just recently divorced from her husband. And so she was asking,
Oh, Tia the twin. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I didn't see that.
yeah, so she was asking her husband or her son, how did she look in the outfit? And that was, a lot of people was like, that's inappropriate. Like, why would you ask your son that? But now you see, now that she's divorcing her husband, now she needs somebody, she needs
Yeah.
somebody to fill that spot, and she's giving it to her son. And it's just probably like a natural instinct that we have. I don't know, if we are not with a man, then we don't actually know, that we're doing that. We just feel like, that's my son, that's mine, that's my baby. I
Hmm.
don't know if Penelope, you said Tia or Tamara. I don't know. I thought it was Tia. I don't know for sure. Um, so Ashley said, how about having that conversation with your husband on how a man should treat his wife? Well, here come Ash. Okay, about how she came on. She get on.
that's my that's my dog, though.
Okay, it wouldn't be her.
Yeah,
Well,
she's one of the most nice, sweet people though. I haven't
yeah,
seen
she's
her in
real,
years, but
real.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I definitely believe you should have a conversation with your husband on how to treat. Well, no, you shouldn't have, the mom should be having a conversation, or the dads and them. That's what the raising is for. Is for them to teach their children how to treat a woman. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Hmm.
I don't think I should be husband, or how a man should treat his wife. Like, I shouldn't be having that conversation. Or you saying we should put that conversation on, like, here, how to treat your wife. That's definitely a topic we can do. But I think once you get in a relationship, these boundaries should already be set. This is why it's important for us to have a mom and a dad. This is why we're preaching, like, we need moms and dad. We need two parent. We need, households that are together, because
Because
it,
it created a balance.
exactly. I ain't about to read Ashley comments on here. This is what she said. I'm skipping over everybody comments. She's gonna say, exactly, I'm raising him too. Get off my, I'm out of here on that
why
one.
you why you starting trouble, Ashley?
Right. She told she raising her husband. Girl, you better get off here before he get on here and beat your behind. Okay. So Penelope said that Tia or Tamara, whichever 20 was, needed validation. She does. And that's the thing. We need validation. Men need validation. And if you don't get it from your husband or wife, you're gonna get it from your kid or whoever's closest to you. You know?
Right.
And it's not right, but it happens. Beans, hey Beans, hey Derek, hey everybody else who's joined. Beans said they got to let go, and it's up to the nan up to what? Up to the man to set the record straight with the mom. Oh, up to the man to set the record straight with the mom. So you're saying that the husband needs to tell the mom, listen, you need to stop, doing this with your son, and set it straight, so that way it doesn't happen again. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what he's saying.
A
Okay.
lot of men don't even have control though to say certain things because it causes issues.
Right.
And when stuff go really south, then because as a man, not to get off topic, it's like you don't want to cause too much drama in your household, because when you do, you end up losing your wife and your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's just like, how many women is willing to listen, like not using Ashley, but just say, for instance, if her husband came in and said, and this ain't got nothing to do with her,
Right.
but just say her husband came in and stepped in and was like, hey, you know what? Some of the things what you're doing with our boys, I don't agree with. Is she gonna give him pushback? Most women gonna give pushback. Because
Right.
y'all overprotective of your boys, which we understand. Like, we overprotective of our girls, but it's a difference because your daughters need that protection. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? When in in the real world, ain't nobody gonna protect your sons. You know what I'm saying? When
That's a
they
good
screw
point.
up and do things that they're not supposed to, they're gonna be held accountable. So that's why all we try to encourage women to say, hey, step back. And when you ask us an opinion, we always go back to say, what did the father say? What did the husband say?
Right. I know
Because whatever he's saying in the Bible, that's what you need to be
that's what goes.
following behind. If you even look at Good Times or all these family shows, it always went to like, well, what the father say? And then you might see the wife go behind the scenes and say, hey, I don't agree with that. Maybe you could have did some things better. And a lot of times they'll change it up. But you gotta respect what the
What
father's saying, just like we gotta respect what the mother is saying too. But
the dad.
because you don't understand what it is in this world as a man. You know what I'm saying? And when you have those feminine ways and a lot of that stuff, you're gonna be judged and held accountable, and it's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be like, well, damn, why didn't mama tell me? But mama don't know, because she's in a different world. So that's why I always just say go to therapy, and hopefully you have two parents. Because if you go to therapy and you talk about your issues and you sitting there,
Oop. Uh-oh. He was saying something real. Okay, there you go.
oh
Okay,
man, I think my headphones went out, but if they
okay.
don't, we
Well, I
just
want to stop you because you said so much, a lot of good information. You said one reason is a lot of times the women don't allow the man to correct the son or tell them, listen, you're babying the son. I don't know what that echo is. And I
yeah,
can
my headphones went out. I'm
okay.
trying to fix them, but go ahead. I hear you. Hopefully, you hear me.
Yeah. So I can attest to that because a lot of times, my husband has told me this several times. He always say that, and I'd be like, "They're my boys." They're my boys, but I do pull back because, like you said, as men, when they get older, they have to fend for themselves. Our daughters, they'll still have their father to protect them, or a husband now to protect them, and but the man has themselves, so they have to be taught to stand on their own 2 feet. And this is why it's important that we don't treat our sons like our daughters, and just so what I'm saying, get so much emotionally wrapped up with them because they won't learn how to be a man. Of course we can't teach them, but that's why they need that man around to teach them. So that made a lot of sense. Being said, real talk tone, Penelope said women coddle their sons and raise their daughters. Ooh.
Yeah, that's another topic. But that's what's problem with a lot of these boys is they don't know how to deal with adversity because they was never held accountable when
Coddle.
they was baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could, yeah, and that's what it goes back to, that's your baby, that's your son, mama's boy. And because, your daughter, you love your daughter. I love my daughter too, but your sons is just a different type of love there. Not that I love her any less, Tony,
I
with
already
your
know.
daughter,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
It's not that. And I think we forget that we can't, like, our daughters is the one who need, they shouldn't be taught all this, oh, you need responsibility, but the son is like, don't worry, son, I got it for you, I'll take care of, what I'm saying. We making our daughter
Yeah.
everything. I do see that a lot where the daughters, like, they get no emotional love whatsoever, but the sons get it all, because it's like, oh, that's my baby. And then he turned out to be a horrible man, don't want to take care of his kids in his mama basement, and we like wonder why,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yep.
Okay, Ashley, you said preach, Tone. Okay, Tone is preaching over here. Penelope, you said they want to protect them and they are raising or training their daughters to be how they are. Exactly. Man. Man. Okay,
But
y'all.
society gonna protect women to a certain degree. Women still going through things and they deal with sometimes abusive relationships. But it's no protection for a man once he step out in this world. If
Right.
he don't have all his marbles in his head, he's not mentally strong, physically strong, and able to deal with adversity. That's where you see a lot of men making critical mistakes. Even when they dealing with women, when their ego is like questioning, they turn into a physical abuse because they never dealt with adversity. And see, that's another thing where sports come in at, because it shows you how to deal with certain things. It shows, hey,
Aggression.
you might be good, but you got to, go to the leader. It's a leader or somebody you got to answer to on the team. You know what I'm saying? So you learn how to play a role.
Right. Be accountable and you learn how to follow. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's what's
Yeah.
up. That's good. I'm gonna go ahead and go to another video I had, which one of my listener merely sent this one. And so before I play it, I just want to disclaim here. Excuse the language. Some of the language could be harsh on here. And we love the Lord. We love Jesus on this podcast. So, we ain't about that, but you'll get the message. So I'm gonna play this for you guys. It's a little bit small because it's on Instagram, but just one moment here.
Take into consideration of the baby boy effect, especially when we're dealing with mothers who have sons and were grooming their sons and raising their sons independently in the home before another male party was introduced. And a lot of times we don't talk about how women date their sons. And single mothers oftentimes do everything but fuck their sons. And they have that emotional stability that is built within the home. And that's the reason why I say, a single mother is a fuckboy factory. And the reason why I say that is because it's not that a fuckboy can't be birthed from a two-parent home, although it is, it's an abnormality, it's an anomaly of sorts that you would encounter a significant amount of subpar men that have been raised in destructive two-parent homes. But single women become so emotionally dependent upon their children, specifically their sons, that they will convince themselves that they don't need a man until they encounter the space from being alone to genuinely being lonely. And now we're having to deal with the imbalance that was set in the household because this boy is not your son, he is your man. When you want to cuddle, you go lay down with them. When you want some emotional time, you go watch movies with them. You touch them and you rub them and you massage them. And you do these things, everything that you would do to a man to suffice that. A lot of women even dress their sons like the man that broke their heart.
This is tough.
Well,
but that's you are 100% right.
So I think that that's the dichotomy. Like, I'm not saying that your children shouldn't have weight in your relationship, but what I am saying that we have to look at it from an integral space. Like, why do they feel this way? Especially if you're dealing with a man child who is uncomfortable with your new partner, and this man child is not necessarily a little boy anymore. Like me, I have an adult son. I have a 21-year-old son.
That was all of the clip, y'all. Oh my gosh, she said so much. She said this is why we have issues, with when the son's actually, or the mom may have a new boyfriend, right? And now the son's upset and he falls out with that guy because he's used to that emotional boundary violation that they've had. He's used to him being his mom, cuddling with his mom, having that emotional not setting emotional boundaries. So he's used to that. And so when another man comes in, he doesn't like that, because it's even men that's not abusing women. Because I know a lot of times the boys are standing up because the men are abusive. But sometimes it's not even the case. It's that young man doesn't want you to come in, because he's used to that. He's used to a dysfunctional type of relationship. And it's unfortunate. Everything she said was true. She said a lot. I ain't gonna say everything she said. Y'all heard that. But I mean, what do you think about what she said, Tone, in a lot of different aspects when she said about cuddling and, emotional aspects? And it's just crazy. She even said that most of the time most of these boys don't come from two family households. So most of the time that doesn't happen. So what are your thoughts on that video?
Well, she went a little hard, but I kind of agree with her. Like, one thing that you could tell when a boy comes from a single parent household with their relationship with their mom is they either too close or have a bad relationship. And a lot of times when they have a bad relationship is because the mother is viewing them or has some of those characteristics, and the man is trying to branch off, but she don't want him to branch off.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's rough, you know what I'm saying? I think this is one of the good things about social media is talking about it, because as you talk about it, do open, the mind to be like, oh, maybe I'm doing that. So hopefully some of the mothers can see them doing that and not, because I think some of them don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They just, it's just them and their son and they loving them.
Right.
But at the same time, just think about it like this, right? If you didn't have a husband and it was just you and your boys, you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that's where you gotta have empathy and try to view it from the other side. You know what I'm saying? But then when somebody step in and tell you are doing it, you respect that opinion and try to fix it.
Right.
Because what's happening is you putting your son out here, and this is what the women are dealing with. And that's got something to do with why, women be quick to say, hey, I don't need a man, because you're not showing them a man. You showing them somebody that's not strong, not masculine, kind of thinking like a woman, because that's all that showed them. Like, one thing my mother did with me, I remember when I was 15, she made me get a job. I always played sports, and then she cut me off. That's the best thing you could do to your boy, is cut them off. Like, hey, you got to be a man. I might have was spoiling you as a kid, but excuse me. But once you get into a certain age, I'm cutting you off, because I'm not about to make you, have you out here basically like what she's saying, an F-boy or whatever, you know what I'm saying, soft and can't, adjust in this world and don't know how to deal with women. You know what I'm saying? I know even from, and it's just normal that when you first start dealing with women and you come from a single parent, you're going to have errors. Remember, that's why I showed you that video on the side. Was like when the guy was like, everybody want me to be this strong black man and be this great father, but how can I be what I didn't see?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where you got to pull back, make sure you're putting your sons in the right places where they can get that. A lot of times in church, people are married. So, you know what I'm saying? That's part of that village where people can open up and you can see how a man work. You know what I'm saying? Because I know even with me growing up in the hood, I tried to pull from certain men that was married and just handling their business, because I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? As you get older, you start seeing like things that you lack. And then just talking to women, because y'all might not even be talking on that level, but they will call you out on some of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing about women, they're going to be honest. So, yeah, I agree.
And everything she said, I think everybody agreed with it. Penelope merely said she went in. She did go in. This statement says side parts in John Paul Gaultier for the 12-year-old ex lookalike. I don't know what that means, because I don't know who that person is. Sis, you got to explain that, Penelope. And Penelope said he doesn't want that man to take his spot. So she's referring to when she was talking about how, another man comes in, if it's a single mom and you are dating, now you get a man and the son is like upset. He's bucking against the man, and the man doesn't necessarily have to do anything wrong, but because he doesn't want that other man to come in, he doesn't want his spot to be taken, as she's saying, because he's used to playing that role now. He providing for you now at this point. Y'all going on dates and he's having fun. So he doesn't want his spot to be taken, and that's what you're creating. You may not know it, but it is.
I think she was talking about that cologne bottle. I think it's
Oh,
a
is it?
cologne that's shaped like a woman. It's
Oh.
like a nude woman, you know what I'm saying, body. Like, just say, for instance, a model. It's shaped like a model where you put clothes on, but if you take the clothes off, that's how it's sculpted. And it's a
Oh,
cologne bottle. So she basically saying, me acting like women or whatever.
oh, okay. I'm like, I ain't saying
Yeah, that's crazy.
She also said, I think there needs to be a healthy balance between adversity and affection, not necessarily physical. Yeah, exactly. It does. We have to have a balance in everything. And once we get over that balance is the reason why we run into these issues. Because you can love your son. We're not telling you not to love your son. We're just telling you not to baby and coddle, as they said, him so much that, he's like your man. That's the point here. You can love your son, definitely love your son. Penelope said she said that she dresses up her son to look like her ex. Oh, I'm glad because that's what I was one of the points I went. Yes, she said that. And if you look at that picture, to me, that looks like an ex to me. Like the way he was dressed, and they got a lot of different pictures. And when I went to Instagram, I looked under some of their comments, and I even seen somebody saying like, "Oh, I would love to have a relationship like this. I think your relationship is so cute, and I want this for me." So it just tells you that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that people are being weird, which they call you if you disagree with this type of stuff. It's not that. It's that when you look at it from a normal standpoint with somebody who has morals, it looks as if that's your man. And imagine if you're looking for a husband, right? If he sees pictures like that all the time, what is he gonna run, Tony? Like, would he approach a woman if he always seeing pictures of, you and your son like that?
It's a turn off.
See,
It's a turn off.
it's a
It's a
turn on.
turn off.
Yeah.
Because
I-
where's the opening for your actual man or your future husband to come in? Because
Right.
now they competing.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Now they competing, and that's where it's like, like I said, I have friends that dealt with similar situations where they felt like, okay, you treated me one way, but you treating your son another way. So basically, you treat me like you're supposed to treat your son, and you treating your son like your boyfriend or your husband.
Oh my God. No, I'm
Yes.
laughing because I've heard that before.
You know
Because
I'm telling the truth.
yes, I know. I'm like,
You
and
know I'm telling the truth.
it's only because you had those kids, them your sons, them your boys, right? And now you meet a new man, and I'm trying to get to know you. I ain't gonna just treat you, you know what I'm saying? Even though you should treat them, they should get that treatment. But it's like, these my
I,
sons.
I always go back to piggyback off what you're saying. I always use this. I always go to Boys in the Hood where Furious had to step in and tell her, like, hey, you got to give them to me now. I know you don't want to give them up, but it's my time. Because if you don't, look what's going around in the neighborhood. And that's when you see the other boys' neighborhoods getting killed, you know what I'm saying, going to jail. And Furious stepped in and he was giving them male responsibilities. Like, okay, your first day here, you working the leaves. You cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was teaching them how to be responsible at a young age so that when you get older, it's natural. But his peers never learned that because they was growing up in a single parent household, probably dealing with a lot of stuff we talking about, and they were just out here.
Right. That makes so much sense. So what I'm getting from this is that at a certain age, ladies, we kind of need to move back and allow the man, our husbands, to take control. And this is even hard for me because I can't say I've done this all my life, or even I haven't majority of the time. I was always, okay, this is my son, or, I understand exactly where the women are coming from because we love our sons, we love our daughters, but them boys, and just like it is with the dads. But we have to understand that we have to let them go eventually. They have to find wives. They have to go out and find and create their own families, so they can't be with us always like that, and it's a dysfunction when we try to make it that way. So, in not saying you can't love your boys, but just have the boundary and know at a certain age it's going to hurt, because it hurts me to tell my sons like no, or to be mean to them. Not mean, but it hurts me to be like that because I feel like that's the dad's responsibility. I'm the nice parent. The dad, you
But
can be the mean
but
parent.
the best thing you can do, like you saying, is when they getting older, you even seeing it with some of the shows we talking about, is you got to step away
Yeah.
and let the dad be in total control. Let him be the yes man and let him be the authority figure where he had to lay down the law, because that's what's going to make him into a man. You did your job. That's not making you a bad mother. I get it. I get it, women. You know what I'm saying? You love them, you spoil us, but you have to let go, because what you're doing is slowing down his growth. And some men never got it. I can go down a list of like some of my friends or whoever that's dealing with certain things because I've seen this and they never grew into a man. You
Wow.
know what I'm saying? And they lacking. You know what I'm saying? And it's hurtful.
That's neat. Well, I mean, that says something. If they never got it to this day, that means you can do a lot of damage by not allowing your sons to be a boy, to grow up to be a man, and babying them, or treating them as their husband. It does more damage than good if they're still that way and they've never recovered. That's terrible.
That's why it's so many going that feminine route. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Than masculine. Because where's they getting it from?
Their moms. That's all they see. Oh my God. Right. The moms twerking and they twerking,
I remember my ex,
it's crazy.
real quick. It was her cousin. He was 3 years old. And
Uh-huh.
she didn't even know what she was doing. So he used to, and I ain't trying to get bad or nothing,
Right.
but he used to act gay. And they was talking about it, and one time I stepped in, I said, what? I said, that's not cool. I said, I know you think it's funny, but you hurting him. And then one day I was over the house and I'm like, you basically training him to be this way. And then she was like, oh, I didn't even know we doing that. And you know it's crazy. He had a father too, but he didn't have. I guess the father wasn't aggressive. He just letting the mother run the show.
Right. Well, that's another topic for another day too, because that's just as
So,
bad if you
so
got
just
to.
not to put it all on the women. You know what I'm saying? You know that's the topic, but it's man, we got to do our part, and we
Right.
gotta. You know what I'm saying? We gotta fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you gotta. Respectfully, let your wife know, your woman know, like, hey, you got to give me him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this might be the finished product. You
Exactly.
don't know that, but I know that as a man.
Right. So yeah, you got to do your part as a man and say, I don't care what you say. I'm gonna tell him what to do. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I need to take over. No matter what you talking about, you hollering, you screaming. That's what the men, they can't just be like lay down and be like, whatever, go ahead, do what you do, mom. Because at that point you're giving up on your son because
Yeah.
what's out there as a man. We don't. We're looking at it from our lens, so we don't actually know, but and that's why it's important that you don't lie down, men. So that's good. I had another. Oh, I was gonna say something else. I can't. What was that? I was gonna say. Oh, I was gonna say in Islam, right? And I hate to, y'all know we love the Lord on this side of the podcast, right? Jesus Christ. Okay, I got to put that out there. But
Mhm.
I do admire their culture, and I do admire a lot of the things that they do because I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that after the boy turns like 12 or something, like I see them, they don't even, their mom doesn't even really have like control anymore like that. Like after a certain age, just the dad and him, he almost running the mom. And I'm like, wow, because they understand that this boy needs to be masculine. He can't be baby for that long. And I don't understand why our culture doesn't get that. We have to get that we need balances. Whatever we do, we need a balance. So you need a mom and a dad. We need that. We need the mother to raise and, nurture the son, teach him how to love a woman. But at a certain point, then he needs to switch over to the dad to understand, listen, you're going to be a man soon. You got to get out in this world, and get it.
Well, it's not respected in our culture. You know what I'm saying? When I was in Detroit, I used to work with a bunch of guys that was Muslim and, what I'm saying, from overseas. And they culture, they run the show. You know what I'm saying? And also the wife can't divorce because the family gonna hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? So it's, we on the same page as being a Christian or whatever, but that's one thing I do respect about them is like I don't agree all the way how they kind of do they want, but I
Right.
get it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're having more success with their families and marriages compared to where we struggling.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to take a page out of their book to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we get further behind the eight ball. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
getting more and more divided.
Yeah.
You know.
We are. And this is why we have these discussions to kind of just educate both. This is not a bash on women or anything. It's just to enlighten you that you may do this. I've done this. I've had I've done this to my sons before, and I've had to get checked like, listen, you making them girls. And I'm like, no, I'm not. That's my baby. I haven't done as far as like me taking a picture like that, right? But the babying and coddling and all that stuff that creates that, I've done that before, and I had to understand, listen, now I step back because I understand you got to figure this out, you know? And so this is only to kind of make our community stronger. If you realize what you're doing wrong, if you get the knowledge and understanding, then you can do better because again, the majority of the men are being raised by single moms. And so you need to understand that, what you're doing as a mom, that we have to allow these boys to be around men. We can't do everything feminine around them. Like I know you may want to dance and whatever as a woman, something come on nice, but if your son is sitting there, don't do it. Wait, to a different time because that boy is going to pick that up. And because that's all he sees, especially if his father's not in the picture. So you got to really be strategic about how we're raising our children.
And
Miss-
you come from a good family structure. So if you see yourself doing a little bit, how you think the women that don't come from a good family structure and on their own doing it?
you know what? Right. And that's why I agree with that's why I'm like, I knew what was, I was supposed to be doing, right? I'm not saying that everything was perfect, right? But I knew, certain things. And like you said, so again, for women that didn't have a dad at all or, no two parents at all, they really have no understanding of how you need to raise these children and boys in particular. And I think we need to be teaching it, not just, raising them up, like coming in a family. Cause some stuff, me and like my brothers and stuff, we wasn't taught everything as far as like, I wish we were taught more. We saw it, you know what I'm saying? We did just see my dad going out to work and him doing this, working on the car, doing, everything, you know what I'm saying, that a man was supposed to do. So we just like, that's what a man's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So we did see it, but I know Merely said men gotta stand up and lead. Yes, they do. They gotta stand up and lead. So that's on y'all.
Agreed.
Women are to nurture and support. Exactly. And we gonna nurture and support. And because we do that, sometimes it's overboard. And
Let me ask you a quick, not to cut you off,
uh-huh.
ask you a quick question.
Sure.
When he said, because I agree with your brother, when he said men got to stand up and lead, how many men leaders right now do we have that's willing to stand up? That's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because you got more of the feminine men compared to masculine. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming more and more.
Because more.
That's what they seeing on TV. That's what society is trying to push.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's an issue too.
I think we don't have a lot of we may have a lot. We may have some. I just don't know where they're at, and I wish I did know where they were at. So maybe they could come together. But like it is a lot. The single family households are growing. Like that's all I can say. And so those homes are creating young boys who are feminized most of the time because they're raised by women. You can only teach somebody what you know, and we don't know how to be masculine or a man, or a man. And so, I mean, men definitely got to do better and stand up. Maybe create groups, mentorship. You see a young boy, speak up and say something to him. Try to pull him to the side if you see that. I was in the Social Security office today, and I don't know if they're watching. If you're watching, hey guys, I met two security guards who were really nice gentlemen, and we got to talking and got on my podcast, and they were like, we just talked about this the other day when I mentioned like, hey, we're doing son husbands. That's our topic. They're like, oh my God, we just talked about this yesterday. I'm like, really? And they were just saying that they didn't like the way the mom was treating the son, like, and they kept saying, she messing that boy up, she's messing him up. And I was like, well, y'all may need to tell her or tell him. But they were kind of reluctant to say something because it's like they don't want to overstep their boundaries. And a lot of times we as women will cut you up very sharp and very good. We gonna read you real well if you say something to us, right? And it's just what happens. So a lot of men are like, I'm straight, I'm gonna stay in my lane. Because like if you seen that post that was I ain't got it up no more, but when he posted that picture, so many people, like women, was like, get your life, or you didn't have a mama, you know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Don't be mad because you wasn't loved. Like so many women came for him, and I wish he could have came on today because I wanted to ask, like, how do you feel like having that's like verbal abuse, like from thousands of people saying you're nothing, you wasn't loved, And so a lot of men won't speak up and won't try to do this and say anything because we're gonna cut you up as a woman. We're gonna come for your throat, and you're gonna be like, I ain't saying nothing because we gonna make you feel so little.
Well, and then too, like your friend was saying on here too, like when she asked the question, what should she do for her son? I do mentor 2 boys.
Okay, great.
That's awesome. And kudos to their mom because we talked and we was close. That she reached out and I was like, hey, whatever I could do to help, and we bonded and we got a relationship to the point that whenever he having an issue, you know what I'm saying, like he reached out, I try to guide much as I can, you know what I'm saying, and be supportive, And that's all we can do is like, because I'm big on the culture, that's all we can do is just try to give our perspective and help.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all you can, even if it's something, because a lot of people help me. So that's why I'm so willing to help because I make it no secret. I come from a village.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
and even I would say, like, uncles, if you have a sister who has, she got a bunch of kids and the dads aren't around, you should step in and say, you know what, I know they father's not around, but I don't want my nephews to go out like this. You know what I'm saying? The uncles matter. You know what I'm saying? Older cousins, all these people matter, and they're part of the village, like you said. Like, and we need that. We don't have it much nowadays, but we need it back. Merely, you said if you're a single mother, you have to be willing to allow a competent man to come in and establish structure and balance. Definitely agree on that one. I agree that it's kind of hard sometimes, because you got to understand a single mom is normally independent and she's used to doing everything on her own. And because she's independent, you come in trying to be, you taking over, and now you saying, oh no, you need to do it this way. Oh no, that we cutting that out, we move it. It's like, hold on now, I was doing this before you got here. And it's just like a reality struck, like, hold on, what are you doing? And you got to be prepared for that, because when you in that independent role, that independent mind, it's like, okay, I got to get this done, I got to do this, that. You already got your structure down. So to come in and tear that up and then start all over, it's not easy. Like, it's hard. It's not just super easy. So I know it's not going to be easy, but that's what we got to recognize, that listen, it's going to be worth it in the end. It's going to be
It
worth it
just
for children.
Yeah, just understand that it's not all on you. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village. It's gonna take, the other counterparts, where matter if it's school, or like you say, the uncles, or even the men that's around the neighborhood that he's close to. You know what I'm saying? Let them, if they offer to give advice, take that. You know what I'm saying? Don't just give pushback.
Okay, push right, yeah.
Let them be able to step in and talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you need that different perspective. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Because you can become biased. It's your son. You're gonna always be biased.
I'm definitely going
Like
to be biased.
the same friend that I talked about, we unclassed on certain things that she was doing with her son. But at the end of the day, we was always able to come to a resolution and be like, okay, I see what you're saying. Because it's just a mother's natural
Instinct.
instinct to be protective of her son.
Yeah, yeah, that's theirs.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
natural. But I did write down some things as far as like the impact on children, and we may not know, but a lot of times the children are confused if you have this type of emotional, dysfunctional incest kind of thing with them going on, where they are your emotional support, and you rely on them for intimacy and things like that. They become confused. They have a lot of guilt. They have misplaced responsibility, anger, and they just don't know how to feel because they feel robbed of their childhood as far as growing up, because they didn't have. Oh, I'm sorry. What's that?
That was me. Oh, that was me starting the
That's you
car.
peeping. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That
But
was
yeah,
me doing
they
it. Yeah.
they feel all these emotions because they didn't have this natural, they don't know how to feel because they're confused. Like, listen, this my mama, but I feel like this my woman. I'm going to work to help pay bills around here.
Right.
We going out to the movies now. And so they are confused, and you don't want to confuse your children like that, because they have to grow up and they have to get women. They have to have wives. And because of that, that's what we have to think about. Your grandchildren, you want to have grandchildren who are stable. You don't want them to be going through all this craziness, because you know you require this emotional support from your son, which you should be getting from your man. And then a lot of times women, as they get older, their sons are going on to be married, but now they still need a man. So, the older moms are left without a man, and they still are dependent on their sons to do so much. And I'm not saying leave their mom, but it's almost like, what I'm saying, that you have to understand there's a shift at that point, that the son can no longer be your man. He shouldn't have been in the first place. But there's a shift that has to take place, because now he has to be that to that woman. So, and I
Yeah.
understand if the woman is a widow, because we are instructed to take care of our widows, instructed to take care of the poor. So that is the church's responsibility to make sure the widows, have what they need, so that way they don't have to tug on their sons so hard, pulling them from their wives. But
Yeah.
we've kind of missed and dropped the ball on that end as well. Merely talking about mama needs a husband.
That's what it is.
Listen,
You get to, yes.
mama
You know
needs
what
a
I'm
husband.
saying? Stop just saying no and just say yes,
Just
yes.
say
If
yes.
somebody gonna take you out, go
Dude.
out on that day. Give that person a shot.
Right.
Stop looking at your son like, no, I don't need a man. And then be like, oh, I'm gonna call my son up.
Right,
Like, no,
right. I got my son. Baby, come over here. You see
no,
that video? That video was so funny. Now,
no.
ladies, if y'all on here, it's like 9 people on here. Can y'all drop me some love? I want to see who on here. What do you all got to say? Nobody's talking really, but a few people did talk. I'm looking at the stream here. I wonder if Michelle is here. Oh, she said Candace from Detroit. Hey, Candace. I don't know if she's still on here or not, but drop me some. I want y'all to talk. And, what do you guys have to say? Because this is not a all bash women. We're not bashing women on here. We're just really trying to get to the root cause so it could be fixed. That's all. We just want to fix the issues that we have at hand because we don't want it to keep going on. This is why we're so messed up. And I was not biased. I tried to find some daddy daughter inappropriate dates. I honestly did. I was trying to find all kinds of stuff, right? I was like, oh, I'm about to find some on the men too, because I'm putting it on there. I couldn't find anything. Like I was looking for
The
video.
society don't accept that.
Yeah, and I couldn't really find. I'm like, let me see the video I found, y'all. This is the closest thing I found. I'm about to show it to y'all. Hold on one second.
Dads really are their daughters' first loves.
You gonna make her.
Okay, that's all I found. That I was trying to find something. I'm like, this is so sweet though. I promise you, I tried to find some stuff on the men. I was trying to dig up dirt. Like, nope, y'all be doing this too.
But
But I
it's a
couldn't find
different.
anything.
It's a difference too, though. It's a
Yeah, it is
difference.
a difference. I could see how they were more. It's because women, we need to be taught how to be loved by a man, and the dad
Exactly.
is the one that does that for us. Whereas the son, they're usually taught younger on how a woman, that relationship. But after a certain age, they need to be taught how to be a man.
And the dad is giving his daughter away.
Yeah, yeah, he's giving his daughter.
But believe me, these mamas not
I'm telling you, they not giving
they
their
ready
sons
to
away.
fight you. They
He
ready
said
to
they,
fight y'all. They
he
ready
said
to fight y'all.
they holding on, right? They ain't giving their
They
sons.
hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Ashley,
Yeah.
you said, yeah, I don't do that, so I can't relate. Okay, you can. Okay, you ain't never did that. Okay, that's good if you haven't done that because me, I know I've done it. I don't do it as much. No, I don't do it. But my
Y'all are
5-year-old,
hilarious.
I mean, I do with my 5-year-old. Penelope says society accepts and encourages daddy daughter dates. It does. It does encourage that. And I guess, like I said, I think it's because women just need to know how a man is supposed to treat them, and that's something a dad is supposed to teach them. The woman isn't supposed to teach her son how, what I'm saying? Like she's only supposed to teach to a certain point, but it becomes weird when you're dating them every week and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
merely you said men don't be doing all that with their daughters. I see. I couldn't find no dirt on y'all. I was looking. I'm like, everything is all clean. Like I even seen one, the guy was proposing, he was about to marry the woman. I guess I don't know if it was his stepdaughter or not. He got down talking to the stepdaughter. They both crying. I said, what? Okay, I can't find nothing.
Yeah.
I gave up at that point. I gave up. I really did.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I got today, y'all. We went over a lot of information, a lot of different things. If you have not shared this live, please do so now. Thank you. This is some great information that could be a woman out there this is actually more common than you think. I didn't like when I'm talking to certain men, a lot of men have been like, oh no, this is happening. And I'm like, I thought it was like just, only, these scattered incidents, but it's not. It's really happening more than you think. And the more that we don't talk about it, the more we don't address it, it means the more it's going to happen and the more boys that are going to be kind of ruined. And you're going to wonder why your daughter can't find a good man, you know, because they're babyfied, you know, they're attached to their mother's hip. And that's why you have a lot of times the men are fighting, or the daughters are fighting the mother-in-laws. I'm telling you, they don't even get along half the time. Like, thank God I do. I get along with mine. But most of the time, because that mom is fighting for her love with her son, she doesn't like you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so you wouldn't have that if you already prepared your son to say, hey, son, listen, I love you, you know, baby, but you have to grow up and be a man. You have to grow up and be a husband and a provider. You know, I can't do it, you know, and it hurts you as a mom to pull back, because I know for me, when I have to pull back and I can't do something for my sons, I be sad. Like, I really do. I be looking like, hey, I want to help y'all so bad, but I just don't. I've been learning not to, but it hurts me. It's not a good feeling. No, seriously, it's not a good feeling. Seriously. Tone, why you it's really not a good feeling. No,
I understand. But here's the thing, you you know, for you to be able to have this accountability about yourself says a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's hard for women to be like, "Hey, I'm wrong."
it
It's
is.
hard.
It's very
You know
hard.
what I'm saying? But you know, we get it. We
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
very hard.
Just
But you
let
know,
us do our job. Just let
yeah,
us do our job. You
I'm gonna let y'all go on about y'all
know.
business. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And that's what I
Yeah.
say. I'm transparent. So again, I ain't gonna tell you nothing, you know, most of the stuff I talk about, I've already been through, you know, I kind of like got over it and been like, okay, seeing where I was wrong at. Cause I admit any day when I'm wrong, like, no, I was wrong on that. You know, like I'm big on accountability with myself. You know, I'm not just gonna change it around. And I feel like if you gotta go and, you know, when you're talking to somebody and call them names or, oh, this and that, your mama didn't love you. That's why I feel like, you know what I'm saying, you don't have a valid point at that time. Your point is
Right.
like, you know, because you don't understand how to talk and communicate, you know what I'm saying, to get an understanding.
Agreed.
Okay, merely, and we're gone after this. He said, yes, sis. Sis is one of the few women I know who doesn't mind a little accountability. Very rare. That's terrible. Is that rare? Golly.
Sure.
You
You
gotta
ain't been listening to us?
I have, but you know, listen, and this is why I don't know. I think I got a lot of more men followers because I guess I don't know. They'd be like, okay, she's finally admitting her wrong. I speak for all the women. We're
It
wrong.
won't be long. It won't be long before you go viral. It's gonna take that
Okay.
one clip. You know what I'm
I
saying?
am.
That's why you gotta just keep. You gotta keep pushing. You know what I'm
I am.
saying?
I am.
It's
I
gonna
am.
take that one clip to catch, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh wow!" And then they're gonna check your history. They're gonna see you married. You doing. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna see the growth.
Yes.
Yep.
That's all I want, guys. I want us all to be
Yeah.
this way. I want us all to be a good
Just
team.
don't forget about the small people. You know,
Listen,
you
I'm
make it
talking
up.
about with you. Okay? We're going together. We're going
Don't
together.
forget the small people. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Yeah.
not. And I love everybody that came on, my viewers, everybody that came on. Thank you so much for coming on to discuss this topic. I really hope there was something said that you guys got out of it, that you understood, you know, that you can take away and actually share with your sister, your mom, your, you know, whoever is maybe doing something this weird, you know, not like that, but I hope you can share it with somebody and take some things away that we said today, that Tone said. He said a lot of good things that, you know, we really have to understand. We got to let our boys go, especially at a certain age, because they're turning out to be too feminized and they don't have enough, they are not masculine enough. And then we're messing them up by cuddling them and, you know, taking them on dates with us. And, you know, they need to have a girlfriend. They shouldn't even be with us going on dates. Why ain't they at the movies with their girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and again, it's making us women say we don't need a man because we have our own little man at home and he's enough because, you know, he provides that emotional support and, you know, I'm fulfilled at this time, you know. And before I go, right, this is what the end of the topic, and I don't know if these guys are watching or not, but we were in the Social Security Administration today, and they were just talking. They were like, you know, we did talk about, you know, the girls, you know, kind of twerking in front of the kids and the boys doing it, and then also he talked about how the women are dressing the young boys like they want their men. So when you see the, you know, the young boys, it's almost like it's a, you know, his man, her man. because the way they're dressing, you're buying $200-$300 shoes, this chain, watches, and they just fresh. And what he said was, when they get older, like, my thing is, are you gonna be attracted to them? Are you going, you know what I'm saying? Or will you go there? And I said, you know what? I don't know. That's a good question, because if you are dressing them like you're something you're attracted to, right? Who's to say you may not cross that boundary, and that's deep, right? And it's deep. Like, cause I'm like, it's some because we done seen this happen. We know incest go on all the time, right? We know
Yeah.
that happens, but a lot of times I don't think it was more so like women doing this, but it can happen. If you're getting everything you need from him, your son, like you would your man, it can happen.
Yeah.
And it's nasty.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
nasty to
That's
think about. But I thought about that. I was
oh,
like, dang, that probably could happen. I done seen some stuff happen like that, like on one of these videos. I just don't know where it's at, but I done seen a video where the mom would be with her son. Like, you'd be like, oh, y'all just trifling. But you got to understand, when you don't have boundaries, morality, morals, values, anything goes. If you don't
right.
have this, you are bound to do anything, because what is stopping you?
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you. You'll do whatever. And that's why I'm scared of a person who doesn't have values. You don't believe, you know what I'm saying? You don't have a belief system. You don't have any morals. Because, like, even though me and a person in the nation or in Islam, we can agree to disagree that, yeah, we got two different gods maybe, but we can agree on structure, right? It's certain things even though we're in two different religions, we still won't do, because we have
Right.
structures, we have morals, we have values. But when you have none at whatsoever, I'm scared.
Oh, that's scary.
I'm scared of you, because you would do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not safe. I don't need to be
And
around.
anything to get your point across too.
Yeah, anything. Yep. Now listen, this off topic, but I seen, y'all know that I don't know, but it was the girl who the baby mama was talking about how she was eating some. I hope there ain't no kids on here. This guy's behind, and he was an actual Eastside Ivo. Eastside Ivo. Y'all know him, Eastside Ivo?
Detroit rap comedian or whatever.
Yes, the wear the wigs. I seen her on, and this was so disgusting. She did a whole live for like an hour, and somebody on Facebook shared it, and I looked at this. She was talking about, yeah, and I was eating his butt real good, and I was making it. She was so like non-discreet, like it was. She said so many things that was so disgusting, and I didn't even know a butt could do.
Now you see why he wear wigs.
Oh my goodness! But if she was like, no, he's not gay or anything, he just likes that. And I'm like, not for you to get on here. And then they had a new baby. And people was like, I hope you ain't kissing that baby. She was like, don't bring the baby in it. But it's serious. If you eating people butt like that, why do you shouldn't be kissing your baby? I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't even tell people that. If you was doing that in your bedroom, I wouldn't tell nobody that. Like, that's what's
crazy times.
crazy
Crazy
time.
times.
Like no restraint at all. Like, I'm just gonna say whatever is on my mind. I don't care. I'm honest. Come on, you don't have no dignity, nothing.
The devil is busy.
And it's crazy. All right, loves. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just said the devil is busy. It shook my head. Like,
He's busy, but guess what? You know who's busier? God is way busier. Okay,
oh yeah.
ain't gonna never. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
seen that meme I shared where the devil was on the skateboard on vacation, and he was like, "Why y'all keep blaming me? I'm out here on vacation. Y'all doing this yourself." That just was so funny. Man, that meme was so funny. He was out there skiing. I mean, he was on the water surfing, and he like, "Y'all keep blaming me. I'm out here on vacation. I ain't did nothing to y'all." So a lot of times it's not even the devil. The devil, of course, cause things, but a lot of times it's your own. You know what I'm saying? Not wanting structure, not having morals, not wanting values. It's your own self-destruction. You know what I'm saying? It's the stuff you're doing that's destructing yourself. A lot of times it's not even the devil. He be just sitting back like, I ain't got to touch you because you're destroying yourself. Thank you. My job is easy today. You know what I'm saying?
Self-inflicted. Yep.
You're doing it to yourself. So he ain't even got to do nothing. You making his job so easy. Only time he really gonna do something is when you make him have to fight, when you trying to resist. When you trying to resist, you trying to do the right thing. That's when the enemy gonna come at you, because he like, nope, they trying to do the right thing. But when you just doing anything, he ain't after you. He got you already. You don't need to be after him. I'm merely gonna say humans are pointless. Oh, what happened to my thing? Oh, he said humans are pointless. Why would you say that? Hey, Melita, we're about to get off. Ashley, I'm preach girl. Yeah, I gotta say that, but I don't want this to prolong any longer. And I want, if anybody's watching on here, please subscribe to my channel, share this link out. I want more people to be, in the know that listen, it's okay to love your son, but it's not okay to act like they're your husband. It's not okay to get that emotional support from them, to do all this stuff that we would do with our man, date them. That's not okay. Going out, every now and again to dinner and things like that just to eat, but don't make them feel like they're your man, because you don't know that you're ruining them later on, and they're not going to be a good man for somebody else out here. So yeah, they're only going to be good enough to be your man, you know, because guess what? They're not good enough for anybody else. So, but yeah, that's all we have today. I really appreciate everybody for coming on Heart of the Matter podcast. We're going to do this next week. I thank my guest Tony for coming on. I always call on him and be like, Tony, you coming on? So, and he always shows up. So I really appreciate it. I thought I was gonna have another guest that came on today, but I don't know. Maybe sometimes when you talk about this stuff, people get kind of like, they don't want to, put themselves out there and stuff like that. But when you do this type of work, you can't care, about things like that. Ashley said, use your words wisely when saying date. Absolutely. Use it wisely. Avoid the very appearance of evil, because if it looks bad, most time people are going to take it bad. So this is why you got to listen. If it looks like it's out of place, like it's out of order, I'm not going to even post it, because I don't want to get somebody the wrong idea, and I don't want somebody to stumble. But that's all I got for y'all today. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all still stayed on here to the bitter end with me. Y'all know I love y'all. Again, follow Heart of the Matter podcast 92, so that way you can see it, because sometimes it don't pop up all the way. And then I'll be back next week. If you have a topic that you want to discuss or share, or that you want us to talk about, let me know. I'll be sure to add it to my list. I got some other topics I'm going to be doing next week, but let me know what you want to do, and I'll put it on my list and we can discuss it. If you'd like to be a guest host, meaning just like Tony was, he came on and he was able to talk with us and just vibe with us and give his input, let me know as well. You're welcome to do that as well. So until next time, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys so much. But I'll be talking to you guys next Wednesday. And I do want to tell y'all to stay wise. Y'all know I use it on my weekly wisdom. Okay, I'm out. Bye-bye.